because once you get past all the bullshit and trying to blame everybody else for why you're there, and I'm not guilty, and you hit another level of realization and revelation. Did that happen for you at all?
Well, my first sentence was for 180 pounds of marijuana. I got 41 months. There was absolutely no revelation. It was crime school. It was see who I could meet. I learned no lesson. I actually got worse. I didn't have a revelation. I call it a spiritual awakening or a road to redemption until I was in my second bid, where I was sentenced to 21 years. And like you said, I went to trial, but I had no choice because the federal government said either you're going to cooperate to my lawyer or, you're going to trial. There was no in between because they wanted a corrupt police force and they wanted me to, tell on them. And when I got arrested, I immediately lawyered up. They didn't get one syllable out of me because that's how I was brought up.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to trial and I got 21 years. So when I hit the first yard in New York, I hit it running. I always had a chip on my shoulder. I always say this, but I started with the pedal to the metal. I was like, anybody that crossed me, anybody that gave me a hard time, it was on. Not till I was about 7 years into my second sentence, and everybody had just about abandoned me. My kids weren't speaking to me or mad at me. I wasn't there again. My friends fell off the map because it's 21 years is like a life sentence to a lot of people. They forget about you no matter how good you were to them. And I was very bitter. And like I said, I didn't say it yet, but other podcasts I've said, I've spent a lot of time in solitary confinement, 3.5 years probably between the two sentences. And it was in solitary confinement at my lowest point, contemplating the worst, why am I even here anymore, and that going down that road, that I said it's either end it or change. And I decided to change my life, and that's what I did. So
well, good for you.
Pennsylvania prison called FCI Loretto at the time. I was doing 6 months solitary confinement, and I actually picked up a pen and started writing my masterpiece novel, Infinity Crew. This book saved my life. And I buried myself into writing because I always liked writing as a kid. I won some, essay contests in schools, one thing I was good at. And I told my tale of how I thought a real tough guy is supposed to be as far as loyalty and honor between his friends, because I had very close friends that told on me. But there's also betrayal in the book because that's what happened. So the book is based on a lot of true stories and a lot of events that actually happened, but the names have been changed to protect the guilty, and it's fiction, and it's how I expressed myself and got through my bid. I also did a lot of other things. I volunteered and took care of sick and terminally ill inmates. I took 55 educational classes, college correspondence courses. I took a paralegal course. I will want an immediate release, actually, in 2019, 2 years early, because when prison reform came out, I found a loophole in it, and I got a compassionate release to go home and take care of my mom, who was paralyzed. She had a stroke, and the judge took all my extraordinary rehabilitation into effect. There was one more thing I did, too. I trained dogs for the handicapped, and that was in a prison in Massachusetts called Fort Devens. I was going to say Fort Dix. That's another prison. And so, I changed the revelation, as you call it, is, I hit rock bottom and I needed to do something. I decided to be the best version of myself I could be. And I'm still working at it every day. It's not easy.